go up, we go up, we go up, yeah. Riding on the web, yeah, 걱정 없이 how we do. No worry about the thing, 밤새도록 we getting moves. No worry on my mind, leave me to we are getting loose. We go up, we go up, we go up, yeah. 솔직하게 말을 할까 야 요즘 술 한잔 위에 살고 있다 몸나 밥도 나를 게립니다 마가리타 말하지 않아도 yeah you know I got the speaker yeah.
Hello guys, welcome back to another video. I left this video for next week because I didn't want to disturb the happiness of a comeback we've been patiently waiting for and my last video of a Blackswan guide which I recommend to check out. Today's video is really just addressing some of the stuff Blackswan was under fire for during those 2 weeks and how people reacted to the comeback, so I hope you enjoy. If you do enjoy, please subscribe for more content. I make many different types of Blackswan content to funny videos, addressing hate about them, and I've made other K-pop related content and other music content that you should check out. I also stan the 7, 50/50, Limelight and SB19, and I hope to bring them on my channel some more. Please make sure to like and comment as well. I try to reply to every comment I see. I feel like I need to get this out of the way now because for some reason people are still so triggered of the fact that Blackswan doesn't have any Korean members. Firstly, you don't need Korean members to be a K-pop group. K-pop is an industry that stands for Korean pop. All you need to be under is a Korean company to be an official K-pop artist. As long as you know the language, respect the people and culture, and follow Korean laws and social norms, there is no problem. It's only non-Koreans, international fans, mostly white people who have a problem with this. The Korean public, even to the shitty all-white K-pop group EXP Edition, was even received well in Korea for the most part, even though they wasn't talented or popular. People have compared Blackswan and Kachi together as well, but the difference between those two is that Kachi is a human experiment to see if the K-pop industry can profit off it. Non-Korean idols. It isn't a human experiment like that one white boy band and Kachi. Blackswan not having any Korean members doesn't make their efforts of joining the K-pop community any less, and I find it ignorant for people to hate and be racist and xenophobic towards Blackswan because of a silly reason like this. There has been and are a good number of K-pop groups that don't have any Korean members, or most of its members are non-Koreans. The Korean public and Korean people even have come to defend Blackswan, and many have said they are a K-pop group. It's really only the racist non-Asians that have a problem with them. Yes, all these groups or people aren't popular, but you can also say it's the K-pop industry and fandom that excludes them for popularity and making the charts. Blackswan, even with over a year without a comeback, has still stayed relevant though in the music charts and in the minds of K-pop fans. Their music has been used in stores in Korea. They have had many interviews and toured twice in Belgium and India, etc., which leads me into my next point. Blackswan are flops. For a group that hasn't had a comeback in 2 years, they have still had enough presence for y'all to keep track on them, which I find funny with how much y'all hate them. With their newest comeback, they've gained lots of traction as well. Not only making an upbeat song with a beautiful dance, but also a more slow, vocally challenging song. Compared to other groups, Blackswan has still stayed relevant, whether it's because of the bad management and non-Korean members, so Blackswan are really far from being flops. I think it's really known that DR Music is a poorer, smaller company, and it isn't a surprise. I would like to mention though, even with this, they have still made really catchy music due to the people they work with. I mean, look at the Rania and BP Rania days. I don't really see how a lack of budget would make you want to hate on a group, though it isn't like they can control it mostly when just debuting. Due to the Leah situation, Blackswan movements were paused, so how could that get blamed on the whole group? I would also like to quickly add, even though we don't know what happened between the scenes between Younghoon, Judy, and Haim, leaving DR Music could have been one of those companies that forced their members into staying and or blackmailed them. Of course, we don't know what is happening between the cameras, but in my opinion, the reason why Blackswan hasn't been very successful is because of the lack of the budget, which was probably why they had to leave Rania behind, and the bad management. I don't think DR Music is a bad company personality-wise, but how they run things, that's my opinion. I also think, which I've talked about before either on here or TikTok, that people who stand bigger, Better companies and companies usually run by popular people like ex-idols expect groups who have smaller companies and newer companies to have that type of big three budget and resources. Most groups don't have millions of dollars to waste on backs a year, let alone produce stable music mixes, multiple songs for an album, and constantly keep up with new and fresh content of their idols like touring different places, etc. I'm not saying poorer and newer companies can't become successful or better over time. I mean, look at BTS, but let's be for real. I think it's really selfish to see people who stand like YG idols trying to look down on groups like Blackswan because y'all are shholes. People with the teasers for Karma was complaining about the quality, like the video wasn't cropped and barely 10 seconds. Fatu not surprisingly faced the most hate compared to the other members' teasers though. But y'all shut up real fast and switched up once the music video was released, but I'll talk about that in a minute. If we are being honest here, the reason why y'all was calling this poor and cheap is because the concept is an Indian theme. It's really known that you think India as a whole is really poor, dirty, and disgusting. Y'all think of the people even worse. Y'all only thought this was going to be a poor and cheap music video once y'all saw the outfits were a part of Indian culture and saw the background. Judging a temple. But if someone were to judge a historical place in Korean in a K-pop group, people would get a lot of hate for it, right? Now back to the switch-ups after the music video was released. Of course, there are a bunch of new fans and a bunch of people that got misled by the rumors of Blackswan and decided to start following them, which is great. I'm happy for you. But there's also some people, mostly on TikTok and Twitter, that started to follow the group but was just hating on them and being xenophobic. This switch-up reminded me of when Fatu released her solo album and everyone started being defaced. Like, how are you going to go from degrading the girls' skin colors, commenting worthless comments under positive Blackswan post, and just being very ignorant to being like, oh my god, Karma is actually good. Go stream. Like, shut the fuck up. I don't know if I speak for everyone, but I honestly don't think we need those type of people in our community. Again, I'm not hating on people who have now just started following the group because of their newest comeback. The only people I see talking about Blackswan culturally appropriating are non-Indians, which honestly made me laugh. Like, how are you, a non-Indian and a person who doesn't know anything about Desi culture, going to tell me that Blackswan is culturally appropriating? The only Indian, well, so claimed Indian, I didn't see their face that said Blackswan was culturally appropriating was a BTS fan, because they got mad when I said that one of their members was Andy Black, so I'm not really surprised. Besides that, many, and I mean many, Indian people have come forward and defended Blackswan, saying that it was culturally respectful and that they really liked the music video. Mostly the play on word karma that comes from Indian culture. The music video was made with an Indian producer and director alongside Dr. Music Korean workers. To my knowledge, they wore the outfits correctly and didn't sexualize the culture. They also had their Indian member have her own little time in the music video with a dance break and showcase Indian people in a non-degrading or sexualized way, so I don't know what the problem is. I find it weird how quickly y'all was to scream cultural appropriation when it's your own idols that are mocking Indian traditional dances and Hindi. Suddenly it's overlooked and not a big deal. People have asked why Blackswan just doesn't debut in America due to their no Korean members, but again, I won't explain this again. Why must Blackswan give us on their dreams because of xenophobia and colorism? And they are a K-pop group, so I don't really understand why y'all are so obsessed. A popular Twitter account called Korebu, yes, that's their actual name, even made an article basically saying how there isn't any Asians in Blackswan when Shreya is clearly Indian. India is in Asia, if you didn't know, because I know y'all are a little slow. People also say they don't want non-Asian idols to get their hopes up. That's why they reject them, because of the xenophobia and or colorism they will experience, yet the same people are creating such a space. You can't expect people to give up on their dreams because of colorism and racism, because colorism and xenophobia is everywhere. You can't escape it. Even if Fatu were to make music in Belgium, she would still experience it. If Shreya were to make music in India, I'm sure there would be some people who would hate on her skin color as well. The reason why we have the type of music genres we have now, the type of artists and fashion statements, and a more diverse industry is because people went against beauty standards and expectations. K-pop groups have taken inspiration from not just America but all around the global, even in India if this is Indian pop, because they used a Indian-inspired music video and beat the idols who's used Desi, Western and other countries' cultures and things they've created, like for say dances and music genres. that means they aren't K-pop either, even if they have Korean members, if I'm using y'all's logic here. So I guess we are a bunch of lying losers that aren't actually standing K-pop groups, because the K-pop industry and genre is completely inspired by Western and Desi culture, mostly African Americans, and the many fashion trends, music genres, hairstyles, and dances they created. Make it make sense, cuz I can't. The pop genre was even created in the US and UK, again inspired by African Americans. There is nothing wrong with getting inspiration through other people's cultures, but at the same time, you colonizing and whitewashing it, or I guess, Asian washing it to fit y'all's narrative and perspective of those people's cultures, and only picking out the things that you like in that particular culture and modifying it to fit your ideal and your perspective is what is wrong. Y'all are taking people's cultures, people's hairstyles from those cultures, people's dances from that culture, and things originated from those cultures, and marketing it like it's yours and like you created it. When I read this, y'all, you can't even imagine how hard I laughed and was so confused of what the fuck POC and black privilege is. Like, I know like white presenting and light skin privilege, but when has the black community as a whole ever had any type of privilege that we benefited off? Like, I can't even imagine why they think this. The members, mostly Fatu, has faced so much criticism for no reason. I don't see the privileges anywhere. I think people just get confused what privileges are. So instead of trying to break these comments down and why they think like this, cough cough, white ignorance, I'm just going to explain what privilege is in simple terms. I would say almost everyone has privileges, and there are literally just being able to benefit off something you never thought you could benefit off of. It can literally be as simple as a good parking stop, to getting a job, to even what type of surgery your doctors will perform on you. I'll be using myself as an example. I am a mid-sized, tall, black, biracial woman. In America, and I will always face hardships because I am a mid-size 5'11" black woman in my daily life, but I will always have hidden privileges because I am biracial and light-skinned. Yes, I might get called a degrading name one day. I mean, I've been called some really bad creative names, and people might comment about my hair because it looks a certain way, etc., but I will always have a privilege over dark skin and brown skin women, and people will tighter hair curls because I'm more presenting to others. Aka white people. I will never face colorism and will never experience what it's like to get degraded for a tighter hair texture, mostly in school and office settings. We can relate on being judged because of our body sizes and being black and tall in America, but by the end of the day, I will always be more welcome in white spaces, mostly because my mother is white. I've seen this ever since I was a kid, the way non-black people would look at me with my white mother compared to me being in a crowd of black people and just with black family members. Privileges are something you are born with or gain over time, and things you don't even realize you have because you never look at how another person is being affected in the same world as you. Y'all can climb the same ladder, go to the same school, and make the same grades and get the same amount of degrees, but you could be accepted into the job because you are white compared to the black person who had worked twice as hard. Hope that helped. Y'all, cuz I ain't explaining that shit again. That's the end. I was going to talk about Leah and the drama that a Leah fan tried to start, but honestly there isn't much to talk about and don't need to be talked about. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.